Greetings, everyone. We love you all. What we're going to speak about is a personal subject. However, it's important that people know about this, and which kind of makes it harder to share because it's personal and it's at the same time something everyone ought to know, but they don't. And it's sad, and it's we'll just go right into it. Many you may have noticed that the world is shifting in different ways. There are different things happening, and sometimes very uncomfortable things and things that make people want to be like, "Where's God? And why did God let this happen?" It's this kind of negative thing never should happen again. And you'll be right. There are many. The world is shifting from a very old dark energy to a new energy, a new space, a new field of experience, a new consciousness. In other words, an evolution. And this isn't something that just, you know, happened. It's been happening for a while now, and many people haven't catched up with it. So we're trying to bring everyone to speed and review this information and putting it, you know, in a less complex, rhetoric because it's very confusing. But gradually, we will make sure you understand it. I know you're probably thinking, then Trace, why don't you just get into it already? It's it's as it should be, you see. Now, this shift that's happening on the planet is not just about the planet. It's happening because of humans as well, because humans are the planet in this moment now are at the time where civilizations evolve, things shift from the old paradigm or the old mechanism of things to a new space of experience. You've had different ages in the past. Let's say this is a new age, but not your father's new age, not the kind of new age that you be aware of. So we call this the new. It's new and it's beautiful because it's new and people don't understand it. It's strange. So we understand that. Now, the personal experience with the shift that's happening, my experience started when I was a young man a very long time ago, and we had different people come to your house to preach the word of God to you, and you're known as the Jehovah's Witness. So they were preaching, and where I was listening, and it got to a point where they said that because your God is a jealous God, and that didn't sit well with Trace. So since that moment, I and Trace haven't been one person to, you know, listen to religion as something to take seriously because they missed something. They're wrong about something very important. See, what people call God is not what they're supposed to believe or understand or be able to conceptualize with their mortal mind. God is not a human being, and what's happened is that humans have made up an image of God in the image or in the reflection of their fathers or their government because they are the ones who tell them and provide things and guidelines for them to follow. So they give the representation that they have of their father or their government or someone that they respect and impose that reflection or that image on the creator, which is absurd because the human thinking cannot conceptualize or even fathom the dynamics of higher consciousness and the consciousness beyond that because everything is walking on multiple layers. We have the third dimension walking, the fourth dimension walking, and after a while you realize that you can count the dimensions. You can count how many habitat zones are available on the planet for a microorganism. You can't do that. However, that's an aspect of a dimension or a density of existence, if you can put it that way. So humans are not even thinking, properly enough to understand the mechanisms of the planet, the mechanisms of themselves, the mechanisms of that which they call God. And they've made up a very dysfunctional God for themselves. One you have to always pray to and ask for things. Shouldn't your God know about everything? And they have the idea of a God that's angry because you did something you probably wouldn't have done if you know any better, and they believe in this image and incorporate it into their consciousness as their being, as their mechanism, as their identity. And you having free will means that when you decide to arrange your program, your consciousness, or decide to design your reality outside the universal love, outside the absolute love that comes from the creator, that is really what humans call God, then that's you making a choice consciously to, you know, I wouldn't use the word disconnect. However, it seems more apparent. So, by making such decisions with those limited belief system, you're creating a barricade between you and your higher self, or perhaps your higher consciousness. For there to be a lower consciousness, then there is the reflection, the availability of a higher consciousness, either in this realm or in another. However, its existence solely depends on your own awareness. Because if you're not aware of it, then does it exist? Perhaps until now, you see. If a tree fell in the forest and no one heard it, did a tree fall in the forest? And you begin to see that perhaps there are things that humans are not aware of. Perhaps there's a certain level of intelligence necessary in order to understand what you call God, or understand what, or if there is one. And if you, the next thing we're about to say will be offensive, you see. Now, and that's not being, not we're trying to respect people's belief system because they've invested so much belief energy in these primitive ideas that the things that come out from the mouth of Trace sounds very strange and interesting. We understand this. On the soul level, you understand this. On the soul level, you're never disconnected because your soul is what's manifesting your physical reality. However, your personality depends on you, on your personal reality. So, however you choose to program your personal reality will reflect on your personality, and you start having traumas or characters that, you carry on from childhood. Because many people are dealing with childhood trauma, and that's where the fear comes from. The fear comes from how your parents treated you, or how the society treats you, and you've developed this. Defense mechanism against you've created a defense mechanism against things that things that you should respect, things that you should honor, and things that you should listen to and behave accordingly. Or you see that all comes in your go-to pedophile and the whole hell starts getting down to business. So that idea keeps humans away from, seeing what they really are. And from that understanding, they will be able to understand what is God, or if there is one. And if you're not looking at that God in the mirror. So, from our perspective, if there's a higher consciousness and a higher consciousness and a higher consciousness beyond let's say the lower consciousness that is yourself at this time, you have to acknowledge that your lower consciousness, that means there's a higher that reflecting the lower consciousness, which means the lower consciousness can be the higher, because in dimension is timeless. So there is no it takes a few while before you get there. You're already there when you want to. We can show you how to get there. However, there are some belief systems and ideas that you've programmed yourself to disconnect yourself from the eternal love of abundance and the universal love that really is. So humans disconnected themselves from absolute love in order to settle for conditional love. And they're reaping the benefit and the reflection of that settlement. So you're all the ones doing that to yourself by believing that you are less than magnificent, by believing that you are not loved by the creator of the universe, by believing in all the things that the politicians created and the ideologies that they fed to you and they fed to your parents and your parents fed to you. So it's the same thing that's been for a very long time. And most people haven't, never really thought about it. What do you know about God? And whatever you know about God was told to you by your parents and your society and those religious leaders. And now everyone is confused because they are not intelligent enough to fathom the beauty, the benevolence of the Creator. You can understand it because those trauma has now, removed you from who you really are, and you feel like you have this pain, this trauma, this thing to something to become. You want to make something out of life. You feel like you have to prove your existence by struggling. You feel you have to prove your existence by, resisting and going against the struggle. One, two, let's do this. And it works for you in your reality because your reality is based on that system of, the concrete jungle, the hustle, the ambition, the behave yourself or you go to hell. All that whole stuff has created this barrier between you and what you really represent, you see. Because if you know what or who you really are, you will not settle for a reality that you're actually, you know, struggling to fit in. Yes, you have to acknowledge these things to yourself. As we are in the shift, you have to really, really consider what happens after the shift, and if you will make it after the shift. There are many things that we wouldn't go into at this moment because of the programs that you have created and the way you see things. You will see things and in a different way, and we'll have a bit of miscommunication, and we're trying to avoid that. If you've noticed, so we want humans to consider that perhaps you're missing something, and many of you already do, and you know this, and you just don't know what you're missing. And that's what we want to share with you. So at this moment, we will ask you to remove all your judgments aside. Forget about how you see things. Don't make up your mind in advance about what you're experiencing. Do not, get lost or don't sleep even. Just pay attention. We're getting to the personal part. So we'll skip what happened as a child for another time, so we save time, your time. You see, because time doesn't exist, and humans created time and they've used the time to, disconnect themselves from the timeless realm. Because emotion is a timeless space. What time do you feel happy? What does that sound like? What time do you feel happy? That's really interesting. So, coming from that view of you missing something and not paying attention to what you're missing, perhaps what you're missing is not going to come in the way that you expected. Because if it was, you'll be able to, have seen it. But still, it seems no one has. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe that God is an angry God. You wouldn't believe that God is going to kill someone, or the there's a devil, and all this whole dynamics of fighting against each other, and the devil is trying to kill people and burn them in hell. This is all stupid and childish information. There's no hell. They are just in several realms in multiple dimensions with entities living based on their own, level of intelligence or their level of awareness. Just like there is a planet like Earth with people who are thinking from this level of awareness, believing that there is a God that will judge them after they die, and all this whole, system, primitive system that's being encouraged and praised. That's a realm on its own. The planet Earth is a realm on its own, and it fell. And the reason it fell was because it wasn't in this dimension, and it fell from a higher dimension to this the lower dimension where humans have forgotten who they are. So remembering who you are is going to, you know, take a lot of belief in the things that you are avoiding, the things that resist, the things that are actually true, and you do not want to accept them because Perhaps you're not feeling worthy enough, or you weren't told that you are beautiful. And when we say you're beautiful, we do not mean that your face is all that whole dynamics. We, the nature of your existence, the expression of consciousness that is you, the nature of your being, the fact that you even exist despite everything you've been through, the fact that you're here right now, bruh, you have no idea how beautiful and how magnificent that is. Like, you have made it to a realm on its own that many people don't, find themselves in. It takes a lot of understanding and the love of God to really. We don't even like to use the word God. Now it's just for your understanding. So the love of the Creator, even the creator doesn't really explain this. It doesn't explain it. It's ineffable. It's beautiful. And this is what we are presenting. We are not going to tell you what the truth is and what this is and what that is. We can tell you how we experienced it or whatever it is. And we can tell you how to experience it for yourself so you can see for yourself. We're not going to tell you that, oh, this is what God is, this is who God is, this is where God is, and all that whole God talk. It's enough for that. This is 2020. It's about time you all humans start seeing things for yourself. And we don't say you all humans like we're they're great to be. you know, we we mean that as Homo sapien. That's who you are right now. And there's a chance that you can be something greater than a Homo sapien. Perhaps there's an evolution waiting for you just to reach out to it. And the reason that we're not going to tell you how to reach out to it is because once you do, you cannot go back. And if you try to go back, you just might end your life in the process of doing that. So it's a one-way street to your magnificence of the beauty of who you really are, about how loved you are by the Creator. We'll get to our personal information, just hold on. So, we don't say that you might die because you don't accept it. We mean you will not be able to carry on living reality in the absence of that love when you experience it. Have you had an experience that made you cry and weep without just you were just overwhelmed with love and the unconditionality of what love could represent, and you just overwhelmed with the love of the Creator, the love of source, and you became one with everything. And I really, this, it's a beautiful experience. I was one with everything. I am one with everything. I I feel the energies of the universe going through around my body, and it feels full. It's whole. It's there's no missing. There's no confusion. There's no conflict about who you are, what you're doing here, who God is. None of all that. You're just in it. Like it's so beautiful that for you to experience it and still say you do not want to be a part of this beautiful cosmic experience, there's no other way to carry on living the reality in the absence of what you've just experienced. It's just like going to somewhere a million times more beautiful than the Palm Atlantic Hotel in Dubai and going back home to somewhere in Nigeria where there's no light or electricity. It's demoralizing. Many people could, just give up. That's what we mean. So you really have to have some courage and, you know, just have an open mind, and it would change your life forever. Forever. You would stop worrying about all that you worry about. You will be comfortable being alive. You will know who you are and be grateful for everything. We still haven't shared our personal experience. Trish has been finding means to avoid that. And We just want everyone to know about it, so your life can be so much perfect, so beautiful, and everything will start to make sense. And you stop being afraid of anything. You just stop being afraid of anything whatsoever, and you'll know that God loves you unconditionally. We love you absolutely. There's nothing you can do that can take the love that we have for you away from you. There's nothing that beats the unconditional love that we share with one another on a deeper level. There's nothing in this physical reality that can. It's beautiful. We shared an information a while ago, a long time ago, that there are some things 200 million billion times beautiful than an orgasm. There are many things more greater than having sex. It's hard for humans to believe because we understand that they're operating from their mortal mind and not the eternal galactic brain. So it's hard to explain. We love you all personally, and the creator loves you all. It's overwhelming love. Like you just want to weep, you just want to cry, you just want to laugh. You don't even care dying. It's just no. It's just beautiful, and you have no idea how important this is. Because most humans don't know what happens after they die. Wouldn't you like to know that? And be comfortable in living instead of worrying about oh love. What they say about heaven on earth means having the experience of the creator of source of the universe inside your physical, embodying the universal consciousness. Yes, that's kind of gets close to explaining this. Embodying universal consciousness. It's beautiful, and I want to share that with every one of you. Uh, if you're here, you're in the right place. You deserve this. You deserve great things. And this is the reason why you came to the planet at this moment. Many of you, before you got to this planet, you asked me in the same church, yo, will I get, say, make sure you tell me, or make sure you slap it into my head so I wake up. I said, yo, I got you. So right now, we just want you to know that I got you. You probably can't remember what happened before you came to this planet and all the times that we planned all this whole stuff, and it's fine. I told you that's what happened. So we got you. Trace got you, okay? So the thing is left to you to use your free will to see how this connects to you. Does it sound familiar? Or does it sound soulful? Is this familiar on a physical level or is it familiar on a soul level? So now we'll share our personal experience. It's almost 13 minutes gone. I used to meditate often, and once in a while, as much as I feel like. And to a certain point, I started meditating frequently and chanting the whole mantras and many beautiful mantras. It's very lovely. And the more I started chanting these mantras, I started feeling more better and more relieved. I started feeling all the energies moving around my body. It's amazing. And it was slow and gradual, and many ideas and questions started popping into my head about the really, trying to. It seems like a questionnaire. Do you really want to do this? Do you want to get to know this? And because it's a one-way track, because you can't go there and come back to the crack and the bullshit. Like it's stupid shit that humans are, you know, it's crap. It's crap. There's no other way that we can explain it. It's crap. So And then the question is like, what is God and what do you believe? Because I never once believed in the punishment God or the wicked God or any of all that whole nasty stuff. It's really stupid, honestly. Since I was a child, I thought I was dumb. Like, why will God is jealous? Like, what will a God be jealous of? Because I came into this planet, at a very high vibration as a child, and understanding many things before being told, and just keeping quiet. Because when you start saying advanced things to old people, they start acting strange, like perhaps I was a bit too much, but not for my parents, but for people around. So most people don't know me because they never really met me. They just met someone. They met Trace as well. So there was a meld between my personality and, sometimes people wonder if this is the same person. Like you're wondering now. So there's an extraterrestrial presence within my being, and my being is the extraterrestrial presence. It's hard to explain, but just deal with it. Because until you get to a certain level of consciousness, you wouldn't be able to understand it. So I already had all this conflict against the natural order of religion and the idea of what God is and all that whole the way they put it, it was just it had no compassion, and I was full of compassion. It made it seem like I was a better person than the God that humans started worshiping, because one that cannot forgive, one that kills everyone, you must worship it or not worship it. And they have people where there are people who will kill someone else because you do not believe in their own God. That's in fact that's like it's really myopic to think that the same God that these religious people, all of them pray to, and this same God can hear everyone's prayer and answer everyone's and all that whole stuff, and automatically that's operating on a multidimensional perspective, one that's able to attend to everyone on 7 billion people on the planet, and everyone is praying prayers every fucking weekend or every 2 seconds. There's a prayer, a request to God. So how do humans think that this God process their desires and their intentions? And why do you think a God as intelligent will design creates will go through the stress, or not stress, that's not the right word, will go through the kinetic dispensation of picking people's prayer and doing what they want by them one by one, attending everyone is it until you pray before God answers you. That's not an intelligent God. That's the dysfunctional God. Even an artificial intelligence system does better than that kind of God. One that you don't even have to have a request. It's already done. That's a more, enlightened God. You don't have to really pray. All you need to do is put yourself in alignment with universal delivery, universal server, and everything. You think about it this way: before you create an idea or something to attain, imagine everything has already been taken care of before you start walking on that path. Imagine you're in a dark place and you are the light, so you are what's reflecting the the space in front of you. So there's no darkness. There's no need to pray. You can ask for something, but coming from a universal stream of enlightenment, what you're asking for is not even something you're asking for, it's something that's being inspired by the universal stream of consciousness. Something's inspiring you to do something. So what you're asking for becomes something, it becomes an instruction. It becomes what you're supposed to do next instead of what do I do next, and oh, I want to do this, you want to do that. It's primitive, it's linear, and a god has to be intelligent in order to create this design, and there has to be sound involved in it. It just if there was no sound, and sound can only travel with oxygen, and humans are made of water, light. oxygen, air, all the elements, and the universe is getting rid of carbon. If you notice, you burn the wood, it blows the black smoke away, and humans are made of carbon. So perhaps there's a filter system going on where the bad carbons are being eradicated and the good carbon are left to evolve. And what carbon are you? So that's a different question. We just wanted to just put that in there. So back to my personal experience to my meditation and my chanting, and all this was just to get me to a space where I am comfortable and calm, and you know basically the energy centers you have in your body, you call them chakras, you get to feel them. Okay, so this is reprogramming yourself from the etheric side aspect of your being, because humans don't have just one body, you have multiple body system. So reprogramming your inner systems, energy systems. They're invincible. So don't open the body and try to find it. The only visible energy center is the heart, and the energy center, the invisible energy, it's like that. Think about it that way. It's inside the heart. It has a force on its own, an energy field on its own, and it's doing this in your heart. And the physical part of it is what came out like a torus and created your heart, from a small heart to making your vehicle. So that's the heart chakra, the heart center. You have about three below that. You have the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus. That's the one at your abdomen, and you have the heart chakra, and there's the one here. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. It's a line straight inside and outside, and you can breathe into it, and you can exhale out of your mouth. So this was preparing me for something I had no idea I would experience. You have to have an open mind, because when you make up your mind in advance of what you're going to experience, that's you in that moment limiting that experience to